morning.
Well, thank you.
We'll start out with a question from Dennis Dodd, CBS. Dennis, go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right. Hey, Phil, you got me?
Yeah, I have you.
Yeah, good. Congratulations so far this year.
Well, thank you.
Turnover is obviously a big thing at Iowa this year, but have been for a long time. How do you keep that consistency, and what do you say to the metrics and some people that just say, hey, from year to year, it's almost fortune?
Well, there's different philosophies about how we go about our things. We're more of a quarters team and more zone eyes than probably a lot of other teams in the country. But basically what we're trying to do, we pattern match a lot of stuff. Our kids seem to be in the right spot. Been very fortunate to some of the things that happened last week with that many turnovers and interceptions was a positive, but that doesn't always happen that way. Our kids have been working hard for the last month. I think practicing really well, and very pleased with that. And it takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time studying the film and anticipating what the guys are going to do to you.
Real quick, you were all Big Ten, I think 3 times at Michigan State, and Nick Saban was your defensive coordinator. Did any of that wear off, or am I just making too big a deal on that?
Yeah, I played for Nick, for 3 years there, GA'd for him, coached with him at Toledo. Very good coach, learned a lot from him, and, been very blessed to have the opportunity to, be around a lot of good coaches.
Great, thank you.
Scott Docterman, The Athletic.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great. How about you, Scott?
I'm doing awesome. I wanted to ask you about kind of the process of bringing in a true freshman and having them try to contribute right away. You're a very detail-oriented defense, secondary in particular. What do you try to teach them kind of on the first day or the first week to enable them to where if they need to contribute, they can?
Well, a lot of times when we first go through the process of teaching, we started teaching them offensive formation, recognition, personnel groupings, to try to get an understanding, because they're going to need to know how to line up. They're going to need to know their assignments. They need to know their keys and responsibility. But really, we start on base one, everybody. Hey, what personnel's in the game on the offense? What formations they're going to get to you? And then obviously we start talking about tendencies and splits and all that other stuff later on. But it takes a long time just to teach a new language, and because not everything's called the same with high school compared to even college. The college team, everything's different, the name. So you got to really teach them from day one, like a toddler.
Pennington Smith, Daily Des Moines Register.
Good morning, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Terry Roberts got his first interception last Friday. Coach Ferentz has spoken his praises a lot this year, said that y'all consider him as a starting level cornerback. From your point of view, what has impressed you most, or what has stuck out to you about his development from the time that he's enrolled to now?
Well, his development when he came in here, obviously we put some good weight on him in his development. I think he had really good knowledge when he came in. I think his determination and the thing that I see mostly out of him is he's full go and has a lot of energy. Let's say energy that kind of delivers to our players, and it's exciting. Not only in this, on defense, but in the special teams, and then it ignites everybody else. I really enjoy coaching him, and he's really going to have a good future.
John Steep, Cedar Rapids Gazette.
Hi, Phil. Hope you're having a good one. Coming off a game with 6 interceptions from 6 different guys, what have you seen from the depth of this secondary this year?
Well, I think, when we go through practice and evaluate guys and see what our guys have been doing, we expect and hold high standards for all our guys that gets on the field. And we rep pretty evenly, with the first group and the second group. So when we put guys in, we expect to plug them in, and everybody is on the team is expected to play at that next level that we expect our first teamers to do. So sometimes you don't get them in there all the time. We had an opportunity last week, obviously, in the fourth quarter. We put a lot of guys in and had an opportunity for them to go out there and in real life and play against the opponent. And I thought it was really good for us.
Michael Merrick, Daily Iowan.
Hi, Phil. Hope everything's going well. Sorry to age check you here, but you have been in Iowa for over 20 years now. And what about this year's defense really sets them apart from any other defense you've been a part of?
Well, I think when you have a defense like this, and I've been around a couple of ones where you're at a point halfway through the season, right before you're 5-0, and you can see the connection, the bond between not only the unit, the defensive unit, but you can see the bond between the team and the coaches, and it's really been always a pleasure to do that. I see that in it was the 2015 team. I thought we had it. I thought the kids were really enjoying themselves, and everybody, I guess, I'd say they respect each other and for what they do and what the time that they put in to try to be the best player they can be.
Pat?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you just kind of about when you go about recruiting, especially defensive backs, and you get involved in that process, what is it that you maybe tell them about you, the way you coach, and how they're expected to perform, so they're able to have an informed decision on how you were going to go about things and not sugarcoat it or make it look easy?
Well, the best thing they do is when we recruit kids over there, I'm trying to find out the right kid that really loves the game of football. And usually a kid that plays football a long period of time, he has a lot of invested in time into it. So he enjoys it and is going to do whatever it takes to be the best that he can be. And when they get here, I'll tell them, and I'll tell their parents too, that I'm not easy to play for because I expect a lot, and I'm going to be demanding of them. And if they do it once, I know they can do it again, and then they set the standards themselves. And that's a good thing about these kids right now. They check themselves and they understand what they need to do. And but when I'm recruiting, I look for those guys that have a little bit of hunger. I never arrive, and I want to work hard, and I want to be the best I can. And I think it never happens as a coach. I don't think you can ever get a kid as best they can because they always should be growing every day, and that's the hard thing about it. So, you just want those guys to reach their full potential. And if you don't want that, then this ain't the right place for you.
Tad at the Des Moines Register.
Hi, Phil. I have two questions for you, unrelated. First of all, what is the most challenging thing you see with this Penn State offense that might be keeping you up this week?
Well, obviously, the quarterback makes it run. He's the guy that controls everything. He's very elusive in the pocket. He can get out and scramble, and he can throw on the run. And he's obviously thrown to some really, really good wide receivers. And I think the big tight end, and 86 and 84, they're really good players. They're big, they're fast, they're strong, they can catch, they can block you. And their offensive line has really improved since the last time we played them. So to me, it's, they do such a good job of, delivering the balls to everybody, to their talented, whether it's receiver or running backs or whoever they want to get the ball to, plus the quarterback. You got to cover the whole field. And sometimes that's a challenge. And, we've been working on them. And the good thing is that, we played them. We've been there. We played them there. We played them here. And things are different, different team. And we just got to be prepared, just like we do every week, is go through the process of what we have to do. And are we practicing and preparing at the right level that we need to practice at to be successful on Saturday?
And then my second question is on Sebastian Castro. Kirk brought him up in his opening remarks yesterday, and obviously he flashed at Maryland, early and late. Do you see him as a future cash, or is he more like Dane, where he could float safety cash? What is kind of his next step in the program?
I think he can play both positions. I think the strong safety and the cash. And really, I think he really good job of this week, and even last week when we had him, was just really focus on one position at first, and don't worry about the other one until, there's a lot of stuff you have to understand when you're a cash player. You got to be a man player, you got to be a zone player, and there's just so many different things you have to be aware of. And for a young guy, that's hard. And so we just put him at one spot, and I think his he's got a lot of upside to him. He's really works hard. He gives great effort, and he really likes to, get involved in special teams like he's doing. And I'm excited to see where he can go. I mean, it's really turned on over the last probably 2 weeks. I thought he was really doing well in camp, and then he had a little bit of a lull, and then within the last 2 weeks, he's really stepped up his energy level and his desire to really trying to be the best he can be.
Back to Michael.
So I doubt you guys have game planned for this, but you guys have benched 4 out of the 5 quarterbacks you've faced. Does that give you guys some sense of pride in the film room, knowing that when quarterbacks, highly recognized quarterbacks, come to play Iowa, that they end the night sitting on the bench?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's a stat that we keep, but I know our kids enjoy the challenge that when we're facing a good quarterback, and they know they're going to be challenged in the back end. And so I know the preparation that they do, the hard work that we've done, and for these guys and our players have really worked hard. And not only as the, you sit there and say the back end, how we got interceptions, but you just think about all the times that the defensive linemen are putting pressure on the quarterback. Maybe didn't get the sack, but they're putting their hands up and they're getting in the way and forcing the guy to move his feet and giving us an opportunity to have those interceptions and turnovers. But really, to go back at it, I don't think that, I don't even know if our guys do know that. They might, sometimes I don't know what they talk about all the time, but I'm happy that they play at a high level. That's for sure.
Okay, I see 5 hands raised. We'll go through those 5, and then we'll call it a day for Coach. Back to Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Phil, I wonder if Iowa has a turnover chain, and I'm being facetious. What goes through your mind when you see these teams with that sort of thing on the sideline after they get a turnover?
It's this thing is different. Things changed over the last 30, 40 years of the game of football, of honor and respect in the game. And I just wish our guys enjoyed with themselves, you know what I mean? And be happy for each other. But to make it a thing for just a show, it just, it's really discouraging to me a little bit. Is that what it's about nowadays?
Right. And also, what's on your board every week, your big board for turnovers? Do you put 3, 2, or win the turnover margin, or what is it?
We got 3. We say 3 or more. And that goes on not only as a takeaway, as recovered fumble or interception. We count if you get a stop on 4th down and get good field position, give the ball on the plus 50 for our offense. And we think that's a turnover, on down. So to us, we think we need 3 and don't give up no more than 2 explosive plays. And the explosive plays are 25 more yards or more. And that's whether it's a run or a pass. And I don't think we've gave it up more than 2 a game. I know that. And the odds show that, we give up 13, 14 points a game. If you give up 2, if you're anything above that, you're giving up 28, so the least amount of big explosive plays, I think still the biggest thing is about not letting people score. And I think our guys have been, work hard about that, and they understand that.
Thank you.
Don?
Anything with this secondary that you'd still like them to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, there's always little things when you go through things and you see things, stay on your feet is good. It's always good. I think we need to tackle better. I think our communication always can be better, but it's always improving every week. So, every time they get to another level, I'm asking them to get to another level, so it's never going to stop for those guys until they walk out again.
Scott?
Yeah, as far as experience levels and having an experienced secondary like this, how much more can you ask them to do versus if you had 3 sophomores, a junior, and a senior? And how has that their experience level been impacted their play this year on some of the breaks on the ball, the reads that they've made, and some of the plays that they've made?
Well, obviously, the experience that they have a lot of game experience, a lot of plays been played together. And the good thing about it is not only do they know each other on the field and practicing so much and know each other and can communicate really well is they watch a lot of film and they're around this building a lot. If they're not here, I'm sure they're in class. But the guys are really good during the year of, preparing, and they know it's a short season of, 12 games, and that's all you're guaranteed. And I think our guys really put a lot of time and effort as a group to sit here and prepare together. I see them all the time, and that's a good thing. They love doing it, and the more information you can give them, the better they love it, So they know it's going to help them become a better football player.
Along those lines, you've had players like Riley, for instance. He got thrown in there as a true freshman, had a decent game against Minnesota and a disastrous game against Purdue as a true freshman. It'd be easy for his confidence level just to bottom out. How do you talk to your players when they do make those mistakes so it doesn't just completely destroy him and then he ends up becoming the player that he is today?
Well, it's very difficult. Every kid is different of how you handle them. But I think once they see it and see the issues, what you try to do is let them see more. The more they get to see and more understanding, everybody, even in the NFL, everybody gets beat, But what you want to try to do is minimize the risk. And a lot of that stuff has to do with, just fundamentally teaching guys about space of the field, where your dividers are, understanding, who's, the receiver splits. There's so much information that you need to have. But over a period of time, as Riley's been here and Matt Hankins, it's already a thing that they already know. Now they become more detailed and see a little bit more about the offenses that they're defending, besides knowing about, hey, how wide is the field, what's the length, and what do they do on this or that. They already know that information, and then it becomes, secondhand to them.
Thank you.
Okay, final two questions. First up, Kennington.
Building off of a previous question about recruiting, when you have a player like Kavon Merriweather, who was more of a basketball player in high school, what about him athletically impressed you in the recruiting process? And what is it like to take a player like that and bring him into a system like this and bring him along from maybe a mental aspect of the game when physically you feel like he might be able to contribute?
Well, when we recruited him a little bit, it was, he's only played football for a couple of years, and kind of knew his background a little bit because he transferred from another high school that I actually seen him work out, that I knew he was a raw athlete that had ability. And then but he was playing basketball most of the time. The thing with it is I knew he was a good kid. He'd give good effort, and the kid wanted to be good. And I watched him play basketball, and I thought he had the ability to do it, had the ability to lead. And I tell you, he does a really good job for our program and that leadership role.
Thanks, Phil. Wanted to ask you, put your coordinator hat on a little bit, and your pass rush has really come on in the last few weeks. Can you talk about how that's developed this year and what you've seen from the guys up front?
Well, it's obviously it's 5 games in, and the guys, the way they've been improving. I think Kelvin and Jay do a great job with these guys and understand the protections and giving the guys enough information. And the more you work at it and the pressure that they do, they're hard workers. They're going at it all the time. And I think the more we have guys rolling in, because we use 8 to 10 guys, and I think it keeps them fresher. And if they're playing 30 plays a game instead of 70 plays a game, that helps them with their pass rush. And they really do a good job of getting their hands up and putting pressure on the guy and making the quarterback move. So, it's really been a pleasure to see that, and I'm still expecting even more from them.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Coach, for your time.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck
you.
this weekend.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.
thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.